Have you ever seen Will and Kate?
One thing that you just miss so much is a big soda. A large
Oh,
soda.
like
Yeah,
this?
just like that. I mean, I see that, and it's...
A golden coach?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, only the finest.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the only institution that has successfully reverse colonized the Brits.
Yeah, that's right.
We baptized thousands of those people and brought them over to Nauvoo.
At restaurants, there's not like refills.
No
and a
free
drink.
refills!
Yeah, I know.
That's like
it's
charging
horrendous.
for chips and salsa at a Mexican
I'm
restaurant.
sorry, Ben. I'm canceling my trip.
So what I said was correct.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah, absolutely.
of course.
Babe, everything you say is correct.
Well, I knew
Always.
that. I just wanted it to be spoken on Word Radio.
All of the scriptural references used in this episode will be brought to you by scripturenotes.com. For a free trial to Scripture Notes, please visit the link in the description. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Word Radio. I'm your host, Cardinellis. Today I'm joined in the studio by Brittany the Shadow, as well as by popular demand by none other than the Library of Godwin here. If you ever think that we do not respond to public, I wouldn't want to say pressure. You know, this wasn't exactly peer pressure, but a lot of our listeners have expressed an interest, as well as the Women of Word Radio, in talking to the Library of Godwin, who's gotten quite popular with his art. If you want to hold up one of your recent publications there, I'd love to show it off. So yeah, we got Godwin, or at least his library, in the studio right here to talk with us. So yeah, man, thanks for coming to the Ward Radio Wigwam, the Ward Radio Warship. Just give us the lowdown. You came all the way here from England, you said?
Yes, I did. I live in England. My wife's British, so we've lived there for...
So you're a trader?
Yeah, that's... I'm an infiltrator is what I am. I'm undercover, so don't blow my cover.
So, okay, I know you're here for your art and everything like that, but I got to know. I think you're the first person in a long while, except for a couple I knew that moved to Prague, that's left the country. I'm from, California. We're here in Los Angeles, and we've had entire states close due to immigration to other states. We have had our ward was dissolved because so many people moved to Utah, Idaho, Arizona, Texas, Florida, North Carolina during COVID. But not a lot of people that expatriate themselves to entire other countries. What is that like? Like, why are you in England? What's going on?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Well, like I said, my wife's British, so we lived there mainly to be near her family. And that's great because I love her family and we get along great. And also my wife lived in the States for a long time, many years. She went to BYU here. So she had been away from home for a long time. She was missing it. And I said, yeah, I'll go back with you. Let's set up life there. And we have, and it's been great, actually. I really love it.
Really? Okay, yeah. So what do you like about it? What do you miss? I'm just fascinated. We don't meet a lot of people that I moved to England. I've met a million Englishmen that have moved here to Los Angeles, but not the other way around.
Literally a million.
Okay, that was hyperbolic. Okay. Yes, you're right. It was an overstatement. Thank you, Brittany. But you just give me the spiel, man. You're an American, an American in Paris, an American werewolf in Paris. You're like an American artist in England.
Well, I think the original was American Werewolf in London.
But, okay, even better. Yeah.
There you go.
That's what we meant. Yeah.
Okay, so we're not exporting werewolves, but we're exporting artists. Yeah. What's it like, dude? What's the pros, cons, differences? I'm fascinated.
Yeah, it's good. I really enjoy it. One thing I really enjoy about England is there's very much a sense of place, of the history, of the culture. In our first apartment in England, we lived across the street from a church that was 1,200 years old.
Wow.
And had things inside that were built by Christians 900 years ago. And that was just, right across the street from our apartment. It wasn't any special church. It was just the local village parish.
Wow.
But that sense of history and culture, to me, is just so amazing. The landscapes, it's a really beautiful country. The greenery, the coasts are beautiful, the hills and the countrysides and the farms. And the people, I think the people are really great. I mean, I married one of them, so
do you ever just want to blurt phrases you learned from Guy Ritchie films just to sound cool?
Yeah.
I would just walk around acting a fool with movie quotes for the first like 2 or 3 weeks if I moved to England. Was there any culture shock you had when you were there? Was there anything you had to get used to? How did you keep from acting a fool? You seem more well-measured than I. Give us the whole 9 yards.
Well, you will learn if you do speak in a British accent or do British quotes, you will make some enemies pretty quickly. They're not a big fan of Americans coming over and doing bad accents.
Are you like chicks with a British accent here automatically sexy, automatically cool?
Of course.
Men with a British accent automatically erudite, automatically intelligent.
Yep.
Like, do you enjoy some of those same automatics?
No,
or?
it's the exact opposite.
Oh no,
In the
really?
UK. Yeah, they hear an American.
Oh,
Their impression of
we
Americans.
keep you alive. England. England, like half of your guns we made. You know?
Yeah.
Say it so like chill out. No, just anyway.
They see Americans as like golden retrievers, overly optimistic, overly chipper and happy and things like that. And so I just lean into it a bit and
so no wonder all of their entrepreneurs come and move here.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think I belong in England. I'm like, I'm not very optimistic. I'm not very happy.
Oh yeah, you are, babe. Yeah, you are.
Okay, just kidding. I am.
Yeah. So the what was the most
No, I have a question. For all the females out there that want to know this question.
All right.
Have you ever seen Will and Kate in person?
No, I've not seen any royalty in person. That I know. Oh, actually, no. That's a total lie. We moved there right before the coronation of King Charles III, and so we went to London for the day, and I barely saw it through the crowds of people, but my wife was on my shoulders, and she got a good look at King Charles in his big golden coach being driven through London.
That's awesome.
So we have seen royalty.
That's golden coach?
Oh yeah, only the finest.
Okay, that is beyond Donald Trump. That's better
This is
than
the next level. This is the
Donald
king of England.
Trump's golden toilet. Wasn't it a golden toilet? A golden entire coach?
Oh yeah, horse-drawn with the entire military procession ahead of him. It's a big deal, the coronation. And so yeah, it was pretty cool to be there because I mean the last time it happened was Elizabeth II back in the 40s, I think.
Yeah.
So it was kind of almost a once in a lifetime.
Dude, if I had a golden coach.
Well, then you're going to see Will, right?
Yeah,
he's next.
probably yes. Yeah. I don't think Charles will be too long for this world, but so yeah, we'll probably be around for the next one. But
you're going to see 2 coronations.
I know.
That's cool.
Wow. Has it already influenced you? Like living in England, all just, steeped in all of this history? You're an artist. Is it already like...
Oh, yeah. It definitely affects my art. I mean, sometimes I just go to these old churches and cathedrals and I bring a camera or a pad and paper and pad and pen and study all the art, the stained glass, the designs, the motifs in these old churches. That's where most of my inspiration comes from.
Is that during like your afternoon tea?
Yeah.
Is that like a real thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more like afternoon drinks at the pub for most Brits, but
okay.
Yeah.
Really? So I was watching Chris Williamson the other day, who I'm sure is the biggest ambassador that England has right now, of course, at least to us millennials. But he said something very interesting. I'm curious if you find it true, that he said Britain is really just a very wealthy city attached to a very poor country. And that I'd heard a stat actually from, I believe it was Ben Hancock, one of your compatriots over there on the other side of the pond, saying that like the wealthiest, not suburb, but like the wealthiest province, whatever you're divided into, redcoats, I mean.
Yeah.
But that like the wealthiest province outside of London is actually poorer than the poorest American state, which I think was like Mississippi or Alabama or something like that. Yeah. Have you noticed? I mean, is that just is that true in your experience? Is that just fudging the numbers, or see if it is true? What do you think? Is it because of like old feudalism or what?
Yeah, I think it definitely is true. One thing that was a bit of a shock is that it's a lot poorer than I thought it would be. There is a lot of wealth still there, but it's very much tied up in an upper class that's existed for a very long time in property and things like that. So if you go to British cities and towns, you do see a lot very run down. A lot of industries have gone overseas over the years. So London is where the banking and the financial stuff is. So London's quite wealthy, and most of the country's revenue, I think, comes through London. those cities and towns outside. It is sad to see. You go and you can see these remnants of these amazing cities built by the Victorians or even earlier. But you go now and they're quite run down, and so that is sad to see. That is one of the things that was a bit eye-opening for me
That
being
is sad.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't. At least I wouldn't think of England like that.
Yeah, I was actually texting him the other day, and I said, I kind of feel like the church in London is actually overlooked by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Like, I guess they just kind of assume, like, oh, well, they're like the erudite versions of Americans, and North America's doing just fine. We need to reserve our time and our treasure and our talent and our money and our resources for, like, Africa and, like, Latin America, not realizing you can actually have people that are struggling on the northeast end or the northwestern end of the UK that could need those kind of resources. But we just assume, like, oh, English speaking with awesome, intelligent accent, they're fine.
Yeah. I think there's that impression.
How is the church over there? Is there
I really love it. It's
like
one of the
strong
things.
stakes, or is it more like branches? Are there wards? Like, what's the?
Yeah, so I really love. It's one of the things I love most. Actually, is my experience with the church there. There's quite a few stakes, and they're strong stakes. Lots of wards. If you get way out in the countryside, you'll find some more branches and things like that. But I mean, right now there are 2 temples in London and in Preston.
Mm-hmm.
There's one announced for Birmingham, which is going to be about an hour away for us, which is really exciting.
Cool.
That's should be a year or 2. And then they've just recently announced Edinburgh in Scotland, up in Scotland. And then it's not in the UK, but
You
Ireland.
mean Edinburgh?
Yeah.
I noticed you mispronounced that as Edinburgh. Like whatever that was. You mean Edinburgh, right?
Yes. Thank you for
Okay.
correcting me.
Cool.
Please take that with you when you you go.
Look, I know that you
Okay, I'm not gonna go to England with Carden. I gotta blend in more.
That's funny. So, well, that's great. They're getting all these extra temples, and you say you love the church over there. Like, what's the biggest difference, but also what's the biggest similarity? Like, what's the number one thing you love about over there?
Definitely just the sense of community. The saints there are very faithful. They're very dedicated. They serve each other. And I mean, it's kind of like the church anywhere. When you're a small minority in your town or city, I think you build that stronger community. I've lived in Utah before, and Utah is great, but because everyone's a member, sometimes you don't get a strong fabric in the ward, that community feel. Whereas in our ward now, it really feels like family. You get to know everybody really well, and everyone helps out. And like you say, because,
So you have to rely on each other.
yeah, you do rely on each other. You serve each other. You get to know each other, and it's been really nice. My wife and I, we feel very welcomed right when we moved in, and we feel like we're already a part of this ward that's been going on for a long time. So
Yeah, I just realized, how everybody gets on the British for being like the great colonizers,
yeah.
and colonization is the biggest evil. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the only institution that has successfully colonized, reverse colonized the Brits. Like,
yeah, that's right.
We baptized thousands of those people and brought them over to Nauvoo and brought them over to Utah.
Well, I think this could be totally wrong, but I heard some crazy stat about Scotland that if those early saints in Scotland had stayed in Scotland and had all stayed in the church, that like a majority of Scotland would be LDS.
Wow.
That might totally be wrong, but
no, when you
numbers.
I was going to ask, have you done your genealogy and found like, oh, I'm related to a family right in Edinburgh because like five generations back, my English, because Ellis, for example, even though it's an adoptive name, because my biological grandfather actually fought with the Polish Brigade and he was Polish, but then through adoption in the 50s and 60s, my adoptive grandfather, who was an Air Force veteran, adopted my biological father. It was changed to Ellis, which is an English name.
Yep.
So I only have to go back actually, that line goes all the way back to the 1600s in America, but there's plenty of people who only go back, especially in Mormonism, only go back 3, 4, 5 generations before you're some baptized Brit. Have you just been, stumbling through your genealogy and found out that, brother Williams in the third row is really my great uncle according to the family search app, or what?
Yeah. So my mom's done a lot of genealogy, and I've got majority Scottish. I've got some Northern English, and then Welsh because my last name's Williams. So that's from North Wales. So actually, one time I went to the temple up in Preston, which is in North England, and then the next day I drove an hour to North Wales and spent an entire day just going to churches of my ancestors, taking pictures of graves, finding these places that they lived in. It was a really cool experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was total Spirit of Elijah type of day for me.
Yeah.
Wow. Rock on. You got a painting for that one, right?
I do, yes. It inspired a piece that I did recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sick. Is that on you, or do I got to check it out
It's
on your website?
on my website, yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm going to check this out right now. Okay, hold on. We got Library of Godwin right here. Boom shakalaka. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you scroll down a little bit, it should be in the first section. Yeah, if you scroll down a little bit more. Okay,
Cool.
there with the scroll up a little bit.
Yeah.
Those arches and those figures
Oh,
standing in
cool.
it.
Right there. Boom. This guy right here.
Yeah,
huh?
pull that one up.
Okay, I'm going to change a little bit so the audience can see it just a little bit better, a little bit more centered.
There you
Okay,
go.
so explain to us what's going on here.
Yeah, so this is the Spirit of Elijah. You've got this figure on the right who's dressed in his robes, and he's in this lit arch. It's kind of supposed to symbolize that he is in life. And then next to him, you've got this white line that kind of represents a veil. And beyond it, you've got his ancestors. And so this is the idea of the hearts of the fathers turning to the children and the hearts of the children turning to their fathers in the temple.
I love it.
And then you've got this kind of Celtic knot work on the bottom and the top. And that circle above the man is a design that I found in one of these churches in Wales that my ancestors were a part of. I was inside, and there's just this stone piece on the floor that was carved hundreds of years ago, and I incorporated that into the design.
Wow, so this is super profound. And I was going to the idiot that gets up to talk after a really good musical number. I was going to make some joke about hashtag America, where's the Star Spangled Banner
right.
in here, you know?
Yeah.
But then I guess I shan't, because that is profound. I really appreciate that. Your art is so symbolic, but without being graffiti or without being oversimplified. There's no question. I think sometimes people choose symbolism because they lack talent. I just gotta be honest with you. You know, it just, I'm just breaking the rules here. It's bro, you couldn't follow the rules if you tried.
Yes.
you know? And so when I see great symbolism, but by somebody who obviously knows what they're doing and can make just beautiful and stunning, nearly like the woodcuts that you would get in old Bibles.
Yeah.
You know, or old 16th, 17th, even 15th century art. I just dig, man.
Wait, pull up that artwork. What's above the skeleton? Does it say something?
Yeah, I
Zoom out
think
a
it
little
says
bit?
memento mori, which is it was quite a popular thing. It means remember death. It's an old Latin phrase, and it just means to remember that you are mortal and that one day you'll die. So live every day in that remembrance.
I love it.
But I have
Look at the detail.
if you'll see, there's a flower above the figure, and that's a lily, which in traditional art represents the resurrection. So it's a reminder that there is death, and remember your death, but that there will be a resurrection.
Oh, and Brittany's loving the lilies, because what did you just watch, babe?
Well, I can't say it on.
Oh, Nosferatu. This is world
Nosferatu.
radio.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sorry,
I'll
we
admit, I
watched
also went
that
and saw it.
movie.
Yeah, we
Okay,
watch
cool.
rated R
Okay.
movies here, all right, you know? Which, by the way, is a hilarious cultural phenomenon that you might now have experienced. When I went to Argentina, members would just ask me, what's a rated R movie?
Well,
because they don't have that rating system in Argentinian movies.
I thought it was a worldwide rating.
No, it's the
No.
Motion Picture Association of America. It's only an American thing. So I went over to Young Men's, and in not Deacon's Quorum, the Young Men activity one Sunday in the chapel was watching Blade 2. It was all the youth were gathered around. They said their little prayer. They put in a vampire movie. And I think one of them might have fast forwarded through the sex scene. But it was there I was in the middle of not Jose Leon Suarez. It was not Escobar. It was, where was that? It was near Jose Cepaz. I can't remember which city I was in. Might have been Pilar. I think it was in Pilar. But either way, all the youth were there just watching Blade 2. And there's no rated R. It's they have a difference between objective pornography for adults only, but then there's narrative films for entertainment.
Yeah.
And then that's it. That's the only
Well, in the UK,
governmental intervention there is in Argentina.
Yeah, in the UK, they've got 15s, which are rated for 15 and older, and 18s, which are rated for 18 and older. But in America, they would both be Rs. So it's like the R is split into 2 different categories. So I know some members who will watch 15s, but not 18s.
And isn't it true? I think, Cardin, you were telling me this. Like in other countries, their threshold for violence is like super low. Whereas America, we're like, yeah, like blow it all up, right? But like sexual scenes, we're like, oh no. But other countries are like, it's like, it's bodies, it's fine.
Yeah, culture plays a big part.
Yeah, different.
Oh, in Europe, any amount of nudity goes anywhere.
Yeah.
Like anything can be nude. Well, we'll clutch our pearls here in America, right? But like it ain't no thing in a Disney movie if a dude just whips out dual 50 cal Desert Eagles and shoots his way out of a freaking hotel. Like The Matrix is like, oh, that's just a child's video game here. And I think it goes historically with our Puritan upbringings. We generally abhor anything that might insinuate, sexual sin or impurity and so on and so forth, because that is our heritage in the Americas.
And we love guns.
And we love
to
guns.
The horror of the Europeans.
But to the absolute horror. I'm going to literally hang just new ARs behind us for our next episode.
Oh gosh.
But to obviously the war torn and the very scarred Western European continent that abhors violence, like cinematic violence, is like, whoa, how could you stylize something that's so horrible, like Quentin Tarantino films? Like people can't stomach him. Meanwhile, we're like, oh snap! Did you see how I took up? We're making a meme out of that beatdown scene.
Did you see how his eyeball exploded there?
Yeah, seriously, it's like, geez.
So what I said was correct.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely.
Of course,
babe. Everything you say is correct.
Well, I knew that. I just wanted it to be spoken on Ward Radio.
You are the first lieutenant of the Ward Radio wardship. Do you see that right there?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That was very good.
So, last and final thing. What's your favorite part about being a member of the church in England? Just like that's not replicable here, where you're just like, now this is a cool and unique experience about being an American or even just an outsider of England or just a member of the Church of England. What's the coolest part about being a member of the Church in England?
Ooh.
Besides being able to hang out with Ben Hancock and just feel super smart while you're just talking with him.
Part of it is cool that there's just a lot of events in Europe and conferences. So you can say, oh, we're going to a YA conference in Oslo, Norway next weekend. It's just very cool. You get to try. It's so very easy to travel around Europe and to connect with members from different countries. The U.S. is so big and sprawling that it just... it's hard to get out of it.
That is true. Yeah, you can easily go around to all the different... I didn't think about that.
It's like $50 to get a round-trip ticket to Italy from England. So it's really easy to travel once you're there.
You're like on a weekend trip.
Yeah. Huh. I've done a few.
Yeah, you're right. And going to Italy from like...
Yeah.
That's the only difference between like, Milwaukee to Louisiana, but nobody would brag about going to Baton Rouge, right? Wow. Okay. That's a good point. Yeah, like LA to San Diego is like the same as London to Paris.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it might even be not even that far. But yeah, so everything is close. So it is, you get cool opportunities to meet saints from lots of different countries, to go to cool events and conferences in different places. So that's been really nice.
That's awesome.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Awesome. Well, now we got to get into the nitty gritty and start checking out your art.
I have one last question and then we can leave
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Caleb alone. Okay.
Personal.
What is... I asked you this during pre-show, and then Cardin cut me off, and he said, save it for the show. So I want to know, what is like the number one American food that you miss being over there?
Oh, there's no Mexican food to speak of over in Europe, so that is definitely a big one. I mean, today the first thing I ate was In-N-Out, and that was pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
One thing that you just miss so much is a big soda, like a big gulp. Because a large soda, just like that. I mean, I see that, and it's... And I didn't know what I was missing. I didn't know
really,
what I had.
Is soda pop not a big
Yeah, all these regulations in Europe mean that like a large Coke is just not that big. It's a bit flat. Doesn't
all
taste
cans?
very well.
Like, is there like a soda fountain or not really?
Well, at restaurants, there's not like refills.
Okay.
So you spend like a lot of money
on
a
free
drink.
refills!
Yeah, I know. That's
like charging for chips and salsa at a Mexican restaurant.
I'm sorry, Ben. I'm canceling my trip. No free
There's a few stores that I think their CEOs must have come to the States and realized that this is a huge business advantage. But yeah, no free refills at most places. sizes of the drinks aren't that good. You can't just like load up a big gulp and put a bunch of syrup in it for a road trip.
That's true. I was briefly in Germany. I was in Germany for a while when we were filming a movie there, and I became friends with a bunch of Germans that actually came over and visited me when I was living in New York, and it blew their mind how sweet American Fanta is.
Yeah.
And they're just like, whoa, what is this mixture proper? I was like, yeah, it's bottled. That's the way it is. And apparently there's regulations in Germany about like how much high fructose corn syrup an individual ounce of fluid can have.
Okay, well, now we're stepping on a topic that I'm very passionate about. Even though I just picked up my big gulp, I realize the hypocrisy, okay? Go Kennedy. Okay, anyway,
Hey,
let's move
RFK.
on to Library of
There we
God.
go.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, sweet. So thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
You know, if you're willing to stay here, could we just jump into your art in another
Yeah.
brief episode?
Let's
okay,
do it.
cool. Sick. If you guys are listening to us on the radio, please make sure you check us out at wardradio.com to see more of the artwork of Library of Godwin. And whereas if you're listening to us on YouTube, please just let us know what you guys think in the comments below. And as always, for this and more, please check us out at wardradio.com.
I just feel so good.